The bill before us today, second bill up, is House Bill 747, No Work Requirement Exemption FNS Benefits. This is a PCS. Without objection, Representative Baker moves that the PCS for House Bill 747 be placed before the committee for discussion purposes. Representative Chair Baker, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, members of the committee. So the bill before you is a bill to help North Carolinians who are receiving FNS or SNAP, food and nutrition services, to help those North Carolinians get connected to work. So as you guys know, that's a federal law requirement that if you receive SNAP benefits that you must work. And actually the USDA website explains this, and they say, while SNAP is intended to ensure that no one, and these are their words, in our land of plenty should fear going hungry, its rules also reflect the importance of work and responsibility. So the way SNAP is set out by federal regulations is it has work requirements. And so we're going to just focus on the general work requirement. That's what this bill addresses. So in the general work requirement, able-bodied adults less than age 60 need to register for work and participate in SNAP, the employment and training if they're assigned. Okay, so able-bodied adults less than age 60, the general work requirement, federal requirement, is for them to do this. Now, there are a number of exemptions to that. And those exemptions, if you look at the bill, are basically outlined under Section C, all these different exemptions. This bill does not change that at all. This bill does not touch that. What this bill is doing is trying to get our state to do what we need to for these people, because the way the federal law is set out, there are two parts to it. Number one, the person registers. Number two, the state assigns them, but our state currently doesn't assign them to employment and training. They leave that as a volunteer opportunity. So basically we're saying, gosh, we want to help you. We want to help you get to work, but you just have to come let us know and volunteer. And we're not assigning you to employment and training. We're not connecting you with a network. So what this bill does is it encumbers the state to do what the federal government has told us to do. The federal government says that people in this category must register, and that the state needs to assign them so they can get employment and training, so they can get connected with a network. But in North Carolina, in operationalizing that, we have left it to be voluntary, which leaves people not, kind of not knowing where to go next. So again, the federal government gives the states authority to operationalize it, and registration doesn't equal participation. So in North Carolina, our work requirement is voluntary, and so it's like a suggestion. So again, what I'm saying is our state needs to do what they need to do to empower people to be able to meet this federal requirement. So that's really all the bill does. It says that we as a state are going to do our part to empower people in this journey. And I have worked extensively with DHHS and really appreciate, I know the Secretary is a strong supporter of the empowerment and the self-sufficiency that comes when people work. So I know they're behind this concept. They want to do this. There will be this is new for us. So right now we're not doing it. And so people, again, because people volunteer, we're not actually doing this across the state in a way that would help our citizens. So we'll try and smooth out, how can we do this? What you should know is that if somebody is assigned, as per the federal statute, and we don't have the ability to link them, we as a state haven't gotten that up and running, that's another exemption. That person, that citizen, is not going to be held responsible. It's our job as a state. So this does not encumber people. It actually is helping them, because, how dare we say, yeah, we want you to work, but, good luck, come let us know, instead of saying, well, here's what you could do. Here are the facilities, here are the businesses, here are the training programs, here's what already exists in our state, here's what exists in your county. That's what we're trying to do here. But so we're going to work together to get that up and running, for the benefit of our citizens. And again, you all know how important productivity is in terms of mental health, knowing that you have a purpose, and we want to help enable people with that. So appreciate your consideration. We will be continuing to work with DHHS to see how we do this. Again, no exemptions are changed. Nothing else has changed. We're just trying to have us as a state step up the way we feel like we should. But appreciate your consideration, and the process is a little complicated, so I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Chairwoman Baker. Wanted to take a moment to ask if any of our chairs have questions or comments. Okay, seeing none, are there any questions or comments from the committee? Representative Ball, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you so much, Representative, for continuing to work with DHS. I do have a question. You may not know, but perhaps someone else does. Is it the plan for this to move to rules and to the floor today?
I do not know that answer.
The reason I follow up.
You are recognized for follow-up, Representative Ball.
The reason I asked that, I'm wondering if there would be an opportunity for you to work with DHS and smooth these things out. Is it your intention to do that before we vote or after the bill is passed and moves on?
I think I know my intention is to go ahead and do that after we vote. I will say DHHS and I have already been working together, and the PCS reflects that. They've put some language in here that they feel like, puts it in a good position to go forward. I don't want to speak for them, but that's certainly what we've been doing in good faith.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions? Representative Brockman.
I have a quick question. What if, will we also help with transportation if they volunteer and they can't make it to a location? Is that the intent?
Chair, you're recognized.
So again, the intent of this bill is assignment, so that actually assigning them to the businesses and or industries that will help them. Transportation is not part of the bill. It's not negated, but that's beyond the scope of the bill.
Follow up.
Representative Brockman, you are recognized for a follow-up.
Have we thought about a transportation issue if they can't make it to the location?
I'm probably going to defer your question to staff. Again, this is about, qualifying for SNAP benefits and connecting people to work. So, sort of the broader program of SNAP and what that would entail is probably best directed to staff.
Can I rephrase my question?
Representative Brockman, you are recognized for one additional follow-up.
I guess I just worry that if they can't make it to the location, that their benefits would be taken away, and I guess that's the question that I'm really trying to get at the heart of.
Right, and there's nothing in this bill that would do that whatsoever. Again, yes. Unfortunately, right now, so many of our citizens aren't even being assigned, and they're not being offered, identifying opportunities. And certainly, that's not a disqualifier for continuing their benefits.
Okay, just thank you.
Chairman Baker, would you still like to recognize staff for a response?
No, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Additional questions from the committee. We have Representative Belk. Did you have a committee or a question?
I did. Thank you.
You are recognized.
Madam Chair. In the bill, and I don't know if the PCS changed this because I haven't seen it, but it said that DHHS could not ask for any waivers from this program. Is that still in there?
So I think, Representative Belk, you're probably referring to Section 1, Subset A, and that is actually language existing,
Okay.
already pre-existing. It doesn't change.
So what was happening
Representative
is-
Belk, you are
I'm sorry,
recognized for
can I do a
follow-up.
follow-up? Thank you, Madam Chair. So when they were doing waivers, when DHHS was doing waivers for folks, was that because they weren't assigned and there wasn't an opportunity for them to be assigned? Why would they have asked for waivers?
Okay, and I will, again, staff's going to be more expert on this, but again, if I'm understanding your question, so the section about waivers talks about waivers to time limits established by federal law for FNS benefits for able-bodied adults without dependents. That is a subset. That is the part
Right.
2, and we're not changing that at all. That has to do with federal law set out for able-bodied adults without dependent children who are of ages 18 to 49, and that was affected by the, we can get too detailed, that was affected by the public health emergency, and we're not touching that at all. And so again, all of that is under federal law, not at all touched by this bill.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair.
Representative Baker, did you have a question for staff? Wanted to
Oh,
recognize staff or no?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think I'm fine. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Representative Cunningham, you are recognized for a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Baker, the training, is some type of training that's mandated. How is that going to be addressed?
Right, and that's a great question. Thank you, Representative Cunningham. And so again, this is operationalized by the state, so the state can do it in any number of ways. And there is a definition around employment and training, federally, but what states will do, some people connect them to unemployment opportunities that already exist online. Some people connect them with businesses that do that kind of training, whether it's the Salvation Army that, incorporates them into what they're doing and their orientation. So it's quite broad. And I think that's what's exciting is that we in North Carolina, working with DHHS, who also knows the county connections, the counties are empowered. So the state, we as a state need to assign people, and then know what they have as best resources, and they can either connect to what they have, or if we see as in the state, this is a good access portal, we can use that. So it's quite broad what we could do.
Follow up, Madam Chair.
Representative Cunningham, you're recognized for a follow-up.
Thank you. Do you know what the estimated cost is going to be to the Department of Health and Human Services for the mandated training?
Right, and so another good question, and we've looked at that, and they are trying to figure that out. So in this program, there are multiple steps. One is 100% federal match. One is a 50-50 federal and state match. And so that's what we're looking at, and the numbers have changed going back and forth. One thing that you should realize and that we are realizing as we talk about the numbers is that when you assign people, actually, so say 100% of the people that you would assign, if you're looking at that, only about 30% of them actually end up going through employment and training, because once you assign them, a lot of people find out about work options and go and do work, or go ahead and are able to make different decisions. And so across states, that's what has been seen. And so again, the cost would depend on what our people do when they get us once they are assigned, and so that is a number we're working on and trying to see. Do we need more people at the state level? But so again, and that's why it's important to know the federal law says that the state can assign people, and if we find that we don't have the money to fill those slots, then those people stay on their benefits, and we continue to work at a state level and say, all right, well, what kind of money do we need to ask for going forward?
Madam Chair, I really didn't get the answer that I wanted, but that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative, okay, moving on. Representative Humphrey, you had a question? You're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just want to make a statement regarding transportation. I thought that was a good point, but I know throughout rural North Carolina there are transit systems that could definitely partner with those in need of need of transportation. So maybe that'll be something we can consider. I know they're federally funded, and I think there's some state funding there too. So it'd be a good little partnership. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from the committee? Seeing none, Representative Lambeth moves for a favorable report to the PCS for House Bill 747, unfavorable to the original bill, with a serial referral to House rules. All in favor will say aye. Aye. All opposed? The motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, committee members, and look forward to continuing to work together. Thank